You're right on time for the program, The Mid-Morning Pack. Thank you so much. This is MBCI TV. It is the 15th of February, the year 2023. This is your weekly show where we come here and unpack a number of issues that are of significance in the society, in the nation, and trying to make sense of them. And of course, as usual, in this particular set, I have my co-host, Bwana Paul Kagi. Good to see you.
Good morning, Mangicho. How are you?
Good morning to you. How's your week been?
It has been fantastic. I thank God for everything. Viewers, welcome to the Mid-Morning Pack, this 15th day of February 2023. My name is Paul Kagi. A week whereby we are looking forward to our National Assembly. They are back to business after a long holiday. Yeah.
Sure, that's very, very true. And it's also been a behave of activities in Nakuru County. The president has been around. I guess you are able to meet him, Kagi.
No, I didn't manage to meet him. When I was going this corner, he was in the other corner.
Yes.
He was really busy in our city.
Yes.
But I thank God he found time, like close to 2 days,
Yes.
to be able to check around our city, to talk to our leaders.
Yes.
And the meeting was not only for Nakuru people. If you look at the setup of the meeting, it was a meeting for the whole region.
The entire Rift Valley region.
Exactly,
Yeah,
for the
that's
Rift
true.
Valley region. And he really talked to our leaders regarding to various issues, development, insecurity, education, and everything.
Exactly.
And there was also what was called the National Thanksgiving Rally.
And two of those issues that you've mentioned will actually form the basis of our discussion today in this particular program. We'll look at affordable housing program, and we'll also discuss the issue on insecurity in the North Rift, or insecurity in the parts of Rift Valley. We'll be able to discuss those two areas. Will form the basis of our discussion today in the Mid-Morning Pack. Karibu sana, our viewer. You can join us. And the question that we are asking you today, what's your view on the government's affordable housing program? What's your view on the government's affordable housing program? What do you think will be achieved by this particular program? What do you think are some of the challenges? What do you think will be some of the achievements? What do you think are some of the hurdles that will be met during this particular program? Are there any inputs that you think you need to put, or are there any issues that you think the governments need to put into consideration even as it continues with this particular program? You can begin to give us your views. We'll always appreciate your feedback on 23814. That is our short code platform, 23814. And you can also join us live on our social media pages. Catch us live on our Facebook page. That is MBCI TV, and also on YouTube. You can get us right on MBCI TV official. And definitely, as we continue, we'll be glad to sample some of your opinions as far as this particular discussion is concerned. Later on, we'll be joined by a governance expert, that is Bwana Ben Masharia. He'll be here to help us also understand some of these areas of discussion today. But as Kagi, you put it, there are other things that have been hitting the headline during this past 1 week. And of course, as you mentioned, we've been having the National Thanksgiving Prayer, and this time round, it was Nakuru's turn.
Yes, and it was one of the kind of meetings which I think they have drawn the attention of the executive, whereby in the whole country, the meetings will be going on, dubbed the prayer meetings, which is, I think, is going around all counties, whereby people from various religions are coming together to pray for a nation. And there has been quite a little bit of some questions in a political class, whereby some of them are a bit uncomfortable, where they're saying that these meetings are sometimes turn out to be political rallies. And also questions why the president is not feeling comfortable with the public barazas. And on the other side, the prayer rallies are sometimes handling issues of politics. So it's something that is going on, and I think the president and his team, by the look of things, they are determined to hold these prayer rallies, the whole country. And I think it's not something new to him. Before the election, he was doing these meetings, which he was calling church services inside the churches. But now I think he is out to be able to accommodate many religious groups within a certain area.
That's very true. And Of course, like you've rightly put it, there are quite a number of critics on these particular meetings. Some of them are saying these are prayer meetings disguised, or political meeting disguised as prayer meetings. But of course, it is something that the entire nation should appreciate when you talk about putting God first or giving God that particular priority. And I think, again, we also saw yesterday there was another prayer meeting to pray for the rains, and it was well attended, especially by the leaders. So one of the things that is coming out very clearly is that the leaders that we are having this time round, they are very, very concerned, and they want to give the place of God a major priority in terms of taking this country ahead.
Right, and I think in terms of those prayers, it's also good to be able to rethink, because a prayer is not a one-day event. As much as the executive is trying to organize such kind of prayers in the national level or maybe in the counties level, it's like lighting a fire, whereby I think they should continue with their prayers within their jurisdiction. For example, if like the county of Nakuru, we had prayers last Sunday, it should not be the end of these prayers. The counties, the sub-counties should also think of how they are going to expand on these prayers if we need to be effective in this new strategy.
Yes, and of course, maybe one of the other things that they really need to put into consideration is when now, of course, there is the first part of where we have the religious leaders, the church leaders organizing the prayers or actually being in charge of the prayers, and then later on we have now the political leaders being given an opportunity to be able to speak to the masses, to speak to the wananchi who have actually ganged or who have actually attended that particular meeting. Now I think maybe one of the things that they really need to put in consideration is the speeches or the talks from some of these particular political leaders, so that the talks that they have don't taint the entire meeting.
Yes, correct. Yeah, we make them to be prayers as per the designation of that exercise, to remain to be prayers and to reduce the amount of politics in those meetings.
Exactly. The other thing that I think has also made headlines is what we can refer to as the government, or actually the Kenya Kwanza government, quoting the other parties. And this time round, we've seen it's like the entire Jubilee party has again been I don't know whether we can actually say that it has it has been swallowed again by the Kenya Kwanza government.
Yeah, it has reminded me of what was happening before election, whereby every morning, every headline was about Jubilee, Jubilee, Jubilee. Again, it is back. This time around, I think the Kenya Kwanza is really focused on how to swallow the Jubilee.
Yes.
And yesterday, as you are aware, there was a quite a number of Jubilee MPs who are in Nakuru, and they discussed on how they are going to remove from office two executives. That is the Jubilee Vice Chairman, David Murathe, and the Secretary General, Mr. Jeremiah Kioni, which Kioni really said it cannot happen. But by yesterday, the Registrar of Political Parties, Ruto, yes, ratified the position of those members to be able to remove these two people from the office. And I think that is what prompted former President Uhuru Kenyatta, who was in game last Tuesday, to be able to talk about it, that he is in Azimio. That means Jubilee is still in Azimio. So what we are looking forward now, I'm really suspecting that these members, that is Kioni and the Murathe and the likes, I think they will be planning on how to be able to counter the position of Registrar of Political Parties by maybe going to court and trying to overturn the ruling by the Registrar of Political Parties. But I think more to come. As you are saying, it's true, the government and the president himself is keen to see that he commands a reasonable number in our Senate and National Assembly, which, as we said last week, is a culture of every president to ensure that he has a good muscle in every house.
And actually what you're speaking about is what has been captured in the Standard newspaper today, because I can see the headline says, Murathe Kioni ejection sealed. And by upholding last week's Jubilee National Executive Committee meeting, the Register of Political Parties effectively sealed the fate of former Ndarago MP Jeremiah Kioni and ex-Gatanga MP David Morathe, who was suspended as Secretary General and Vice Chairman, respectively. Now, the question may be that, Kagi, I'm trying to ask myself, it looks like this is a question of numbers.
Yes.
Like if you can see the number of MPs that came to Nakuru and actually upheld or actually came up with this particular resolution, it was the entire members of the Jubilee Party. And so, to me, it's like having the two of them countering such a particular decision is really going to be an uphill task. But then the question, again, that we should be asking ourselves, what will be the end result when we have, it is like now the entire opposition, again, we've used the word swallowed by the government. So what will be the end result, and what does this portray for the country, whereby we have those who are in opposition making a decision now that they're going to work with the government and, of course, being loyal to the government of the day. What will it tell, or what will it speak maybe to the place of the opposition as far as the politics of opposition is concerned?
Right. I think if you look at the history of our republic, is that Kenya is never serious with the issue of politics of political parties. You know, we don't have a seriousness in making sure that we have strong political parties, parties which can be able to stand on a certain issue, parties which are known to have a certain policy they are standing for. For example, a party can be there and it is advocating for democracy. Today, do we have a party that really we can count on regarding to fighting for the democracy of our nation? Number two, do we have a party which really is advocating for the issue of unemployment in our country? No. You see, many parties are formed prior to the election, and they come up with policies that are friendly to the people to be able to move voters in their basket.
Right.
And I think we are moving in the wrong direction, whereby we can be forming parties which are not of any use to us. You know, sometimes we call them briefcase parties. Yeah, so I think the future of our parties is nowhere to be seen.
Yes, of course, that is something that really needs to be looked into and to be given the attention that it deserves. And on the other hand, the Azimio leader is still adamant that they will continue with the, what we now call the public barazas that are happening to basically continue to criticize the legitimacy of President William Ruto and the Kenya Kwanza government. But the president also on record saying that those particular meetings or those meetings will not deter him and his endeavor to ensure that the projects of the government continue. But again, I had Raila saying that he himself will not recognize the legitimacy of President William Ruto, but he doesn't have an issue with the governors from Azimio working with the government of the day. How does this, what does this mean to you, Kagi?
I think is a good policy, and it is known, as we said, I think 2 weeks ago, whereby, you know, we are talking, Raila is talking about Ruto government or Ruto himself. But see, Ruto is not the only government has many officers. I think is a policy whereby, you see, the national government receives revenue, then it gives an equitable share to the counties to be able to conduct its affairs. So I think there's no problem with the government or government officers working with the counties to be able to bring back these resources which they are getting from taxes from their regions. Anyway, I think Raila sometimes is confusing people. He says this today, tomorrow he says the other thing. You need to become very solid, you know. You cannot just call me a friend today and then tomorrow you are working behind my back. You either declare I'm your friend and I am known, or I am not your friend.
Sure. And of course, again, I think the challenge is putting the governors and maybe the members of parliament who are in Azimio at a very challenging position, because they need to work with the government, or at least there is their need for that particular conducive environment for them to be able also to ensure that development continues in their areas of representation.
Yes, I think before you finalize, there's one issue which is here, which I think is a very sensitive. It's talking about how the parents are colluding with head teachers in the primary school.
Oh, yes.
To be able to register their children who are in this program of 2663, or the popular CBC, or to go and do the KCPE. You know, once your child in class 6, there's a very serious scandal here. They are colluding with the head teachers and maybe people from the Office of Register of Persons. They are changing their birthday dates to accommodate these children to go and do KCPE, as if they are running away from the CBC program, the 2663. That was revealed by the PS, Basic Education, Belio Kipsang. And he is saying the government is really investigating this big scandal.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting and disappointing state of affairs there, because does it mean that now some of these parents are not in support of the CBC program? Does it mean that they don't have faith in the CBC program? And again, also, what does it portend for those head teachers or some of those school heads who are also colluding with these parents to register some of these grade 7 pupils in KCP? Because what we know is that the train has already kicked off. It has already left the station, and the CBC is here to stay. I don't think where we've reached there is in any way we can go back. What we need to do now, and I think it needs the support of all the stakeholders of education, parents included, to give this particular program the support it deserves or the support it needs. Because if we were now to go back, it means really a very, very major retrogression as far as this particular system is concerned.
Right. And on that note also is to mention that there was one report which was released yesterday which was saying that many Kenyans are comfortable and support the CBC program. You see, it's a little bit confusing issue here. It's okay, some parents are not comfortable with it, but majority of the parents are saying they are comfortable with the CBC. I think it's because of the civic education, the news that are being aired regarding the CBC. People are talking about it. So I think there is a lot of sensitization regarding to CBC. People have started to understand more about it. Yeah, and I think it's something to be able to watch. CBC, as you have said, the train has left the station.
Yeah, so much for that. It's at this particular juncture now that we want to welcome our guest. Remember, the question that we are asking you is, what is your view on the government's affordable housing program? What's your view on the government's affordable housing program? You can catch us live on our social media pages, that is Facebook, MBCI TV, and YouTube, that is MBCI TV Official. Our shortcode platform is 23814. Our guest in this particular program is Bwana Benson Macharia, who is a governance expert. It's good to see you. Good morning. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Wangicho, for having me in your studios today. My name is Benson Macharia, for those who don't know me. I'm also the chairman of Friends of Devolution. Wow. Nakuru County.
Nakuru County.
Yes.
Always a pleasure to have you. As Friends of Devolution, were you able also to have a platform with the president? He's been around.
Yeah, he has been around, but mostly we were not able, because you see, for most of the party was dealing with elected leaders, and as such, the other stakeholders' leadership we were not involved. So we were just watching and following what they were doing, because you see, for this particular time, I think he came also to resolve some issues within Nakuru in terms of leadership and also Baringo. So some of us, we were not really, we didn't interact with the president, but we were seeing, but during prayers we were there at NSC.
But you had issues that you wanted to present to him?
Of course, like what we are seeing here, you see, sometimes elected leaders have selective amnesia in terms of, you know, sometimes they present what they want to the president. So they ignore some of the things which may be embarrassing either to the president. And that's why you see, even during one of the meetings for the affordable housing, one of the leaders there, an MCA, had to say that these buildings, these houses are not for the mamambogas and for the border riders, because 3, 4, 5 million we cannot afford. Right. So let us call it as it is, and that is what sometimes our leaders never tell our leaders.
Yes, and I know, Bwana Macharia, maybe we'll get into that will form the basis of our discussion today, the affordable housing program and the housing units that the president actually launched here in Nakuru. But among the other things that maybe we've discussed with Kagi, briefly analyzing maybe what has captured your attention.
Actually, like when you talk about issues of, you know, like the prayers,
yes.
many people are criticizing. But I think it is the best thing that we can ever do.
Right.
Because as a country, we have to get to a culture whereby we support prayers as after elections, because mostly people normally don't come back to say thank you. They, like MCAs, governors, they just go away, and sometimes it brings so many issues. Those people, if you have your way of prayer, you must follow it.
Right.
And if the president's way of prayer is to thank God and have these prayers across all our counties, I think it should let be. Because others are believing in public baraza, like you're saying, to start raising and casting aspersions on the elections. But you see, in terms of prayers, I think it is the right thing for the government to do, so that at least they can be able to go back. And again, there is something I heard the Kagi say, politicization.
Yes.
When we are going for prayers, we are not going to pray just in an open. There are things which are bedeviling our country, like high taxes, there is no food, drought is there. And sometimes some of the drivers of these issues that are bedeviling Kenyans are just politicians. So these politicians, even as they pray, they will have to pray for those issues. And sometimes politicians get excited and they start mentioning. But like you have said, they should tone down and reduce some of those sentiments, and especially when we are in a prayer mode. They should wait for the campaign to come.
For the campaign period.
Yes.
What's your take on what has also been trending, that the government has now swallowed the entire opposition? Jubilee MPs have moved back to Kenya Kwanza.
I think
is it a case of being afraid of being out of the government, what we normally say being in the cold?
But I'm also a Kenyan, and I've gone across all counties. And to a large extent, initially, when you come into government, your people used to look at you. Like Kagi now, maybe he comes from Bahati, so the people of Bahati will benefit. Okay. If you come from Eldoret, and then the people of Eldoret will benefit. But at this particular time, what now the country now realizes is that there is no somebody for county or the national government for that. These are all Kenyans. Which means that there are issues, maybe for example in Moyale constituency, that will need to maybe raise directly with the president. And that's why even the president has taken himself to tell the governors, go and withdraw the cases against us, the national, and then the national will withdraw the cases against the ND. So it is not about swallowing the opposition. Right now, all Kenyans have got an equal opportunity to access development, for that matter. Right. If I am Nyanza, even I voted for ODM, and I come from Kisumu Rural constituency, my CDF should just come the way it's supposed to be. If I'm a Nyang, the governor of Kisumu, all that will come. But now the issue is, I think the president was categorical, and I think he's right, that for this particular time, I want to engage all leaders from Lamu to all the other counties, because MCAs, MPs used to stay in a corner whereby they don't engage with the government of the day, and then at the end of the day they start telling their people tumewachiliwa na serikali. And that's why even when we come to that issue of security, you will come to that issue, we'll discuss why now that we are putting so much emphasis on the security across the country. It is not just we Nakuru, when we are happy, everybody else. No, we should look at the entire nation. So the question earlier, what President Moi, the late President Moi used to do, he used to say, like, if Kagi comes from a particular area, is very influential. You are called a state house, you eat ugali, and then you betray your people. Whereby at the end of the day, you will never mention anything that divides your people, because now umekula ugali, you have now been given a bahasha, now you are kept quiet. This particular time, the word opposition actually, that's why they are being told, let's be realistic about opposition. What is about opposition? Are we raising issues just to counter government, or we are raising issues that are pertaining to our people? For the longest time, my brother, let me just use this. People from, for example, MPs from Nyanza and all the other regions, they never use, I've never seen them say the road from Ahero to maybe Ngere or something like that. Somebody else raised this dam should be done ABC, because people are just saying about the constitution. You know, Kenya is the one of the most legislated countries. But now we reach a point where we need now to bring all leaders. If I'm a leader in Moyale, if I'm a leader in Malindi, if I'm a leader in Bahati, we should all work with government. If Ruto comes, for example, in the State House Nakuru, It is not a question Arama is the MP for Jubilee and Jubilee was in opposition. Let's go there. There are issues that as an MP Arama would wish to reach the president, as an MP for UDA, because there are no UDA or Jubilee Kenyans. All of us are drawing all our money from the national coffers. And if there are challenges at the national coffers, if the president embraces everybody, then that should be embraced. The only problem would have been if the president now called all the other parties to come and now start finishing them. For example, the ODM MPs, when they went to the to State House, they now fold up. They said, now we are going to get out of. That is not what should happen. But if they're discussing development, I think Mangicho, we are good to go.
Fair enough for that. I think we can now get into our first area of discussion, and that is affordable housing programs. And the president was in Nakuru the day before yesterday. That is in Bondeni, where he went to inspect the housing units that are continuing there. And of course, this is something that the president also said, 200 housing units are planned for this particular year, 9,000 units currently under construction, and this is meant to ensure that there is affordable housing for the average Kenyan, and also in a way to actually ensure that there is provision of employment. And maybe, what is your quick assessment of this particular project, Bwana Macharia?
I think, number one, if we look at the genesis of the affordable housing,
yes,
it actually started with the World Bank. World Bank, what they wanted to do, they wanted to finish slums across the Republic. Once so even the first program was done in Kibera then, whereby they destroyed the informal sector and then they built new high-rise building where they wished to take people from that area to now the other houses so that they can come from the slum and then they occupy the better houses. But you see now, again now, the government now adopted.
And what is happening right now, is it what was also in the Jubilee, the 2013 to 2017 to 2022 manifesto on affordable housing?
Yes, it was there. It is only that, you know, when Jubilee was talking about manufacturing, affordable housing, and issues of issues of manufacturing and affordable housing, these agendas got lost at some point during the last 5 years, because you see a lot of money was never put in these projects because people are diverted to other issues, like you hear them complaining all the other time. But these issues were there because once the government adopted, you know, it is not about Uhuru Kenyatta, or it was not about Ruto then, but when the government, 2013, when they came into power, they said they are going to build affordable houses for Kenyans so that Kenyans can own. But now along the way, that's why you see even this Bondeni, it is just where it has reached. It is not just only last week or last month. It has been existing for the last 2 years, which means that this process has been ongoing since the last regime. It's only that it has gone down. There was no much hype about what was going on because people are now focused on other issues like BBI and all that. But what we can say is that this thing was there before, in the previous 2013 government, 2017, but also allocation of money to the same also came to another. What they are not telling us here is that these houses are not built by government. That is now the biggest issue that people don't know. They are not built by government. They are built by private investors. If Kagi here has got money, he can build 500 units, he's given land by government, he develops and they sell at a affordable price. That is the difference. So that has been going on, and again also the slow pace has been the investors who are brought, you know, they were also waiting for regime change. And you never know when a regime changes, you can be thrown out.
Maybe, Bwana Macharia, you can just hold that thought. I know Kagi also want to come in, but my director is telling me that we need to take a short break at this particular point. We also have the voice, or actually a sound bite from the president, the governor for Nakuru, Susan Kihika, and other leaders on this particular program. We'll be getting those sound bites immediately after this short breather. We are coming back after this.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Kiambu County, Roiro. Mission to the Body of Christ International MBCI, in conjunction with Kiambu Pastors Fellowship, invites you to Possessing the Promise of Revival Conference from 13th till 19th of February 2023 daily from
Johnson Sakaja ni gavana wa Nairobi wangapi sasa hivi?
Wa pili.
Wa pili eh?
Naam.
Something is wrong somewhere.
Wa kwanza nani alikuwa?
Mike Sonko.
Wa pili?
Johnson Sakaja.
Wasingishu County ni county nambari ngapi Kenya?
39.
Which is the largest county in Kenya?
The largest country in Kenya. In Kenya.
Yeah.
In Kenya.
Behave yourself.
Na sema sikusoma. Simutulie niwaambie majibu.
It's about to go down.
The largest country in Kenya inakuwa Sudan.
Is it from a village?
No way! No way!
Which is the largest county in Kenya?
Kakamega County.
So is that true? No. So is that true? I said no.
Gavana wa kwanza wa county ya Nairobi alikuwa anaitwa nani?
Alikuwa anaitwa Sonko.
Aha.
So today it's juices, 3 types of juices. Kama wenye hawatumiangi sukari, wako na magonjwa za sukari. Yes. Okay, unaweza andika ka study kadogo tu, kidogo sana. Okay. Zinakuwa mzuri kumwilini pia. Ni fiber. So unajua fiber zinasaidianga digestion. Yes, that's true. Yeah. Hii orange juice ni wale hawataki maybe iongezewe maji, inakuwa tu ama hata sukari. Hata sukari hakuna kitu inaongezewa, inakuwa tu juice yenyewe kutoka kwa matunda yenyewe. Nice.
Do you desire to attain your divine destiny and serve God's purpose for your life? You can do so by your daily devotionals using inspired materials that has been written prayerfully for the benefit of the body of Christ. Apostle John Kimani William has published the 2023 edition of Nuggets of Destiny. In it, you will find an anchor scripture to guide your path as you spend time with God, a brief sermonette to inspire, teach, encourage, counsel, and rebuke you, suggestion for further reading in line with the message of each day, a prayer bullet to help you pray in the perfect will of God, and a one-year Bible reading plan to guide you through the Bible in 2023. Get your copy today at Kingdom Seekers Fellowship Gift Shop and at Heaven's Gate Prayer Mountain Gift Shop. You can also call 0722 344 360 to place your order today. If you are in Nairobi and its environs, place your order through 0799 573 310. God bless you.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Haya manyumba ambayo tumejenga hapa, hii ndio kazi ambayo tulikuwa tumepanga tuanze 2017. Tumesema tutajenga nyumba 50,000. Hii nyumba iko hapa ni nyumba 600. Hii ni nyumba 600 peke yake. Hapa bondeni hapa kwenu tuko na mashamba ya county, tuko na mashamba ya serikali karibu ekari 30-40. Hapa bondeni peke yake na sehemu hii tutajenga nyumba zingine 5,000 zenu. Kwa hivyo mukisikia tunasema mambo ya housing, serikali ya Kenya tumesema tunajenga nyumba 1,200 kila mwaka katika taifa letu. Na tukisema tunajenga nyumba 1,200 kila mwaka, saa hizi tuko na nyumba 30,000 ambazo zinaendelea. Tumeanzisha juzi zingine zinaendelea. Tunafanya evaluation saa hizi katika wizara yetu ya lands na housing. Tunafanya evaluation ya nyumba zingine 30,000. And every 2-3 months we will be adding to the numbers ya construction. Na hii mpango tutaisambaza Kenya mzima. County governments niliketi chini na wao juzi kwa siku 2. Tumekubaliana vile hiyo mradi itaendelea mbele. Tuko na tayari mashamba ya kujenga nyumba 1,600. We already have land that we can construct 600,000 housing units ready and available. Saa hizi tunapangana na wale ambao watatusaidia kujenga hizo manyumba. Na katika hiyo mpango ya kujenga manyumba, sio manyumba peke yake tunatafuta. Manyumba ni ya muhimu kwa sababu we want citizens to live in decent, affordable housing. Lakini ya muhimu zaidi ni wale watu wanafanya kazi katika hiyo mpango ya housing. Hapa katika hii development project, watu karibu 2,000 walikuwa wanafanya kazi hapa. Si ni kweli? Na tunataka tuhakikishe katika hizo miradi ingine yote vijana wanafanya kazi, plumbers wako na kazi, welders wako na kazi, electricians wako na kazi, masons wako na kazi, carpenters wako na kazi. Ndio tuhakikishe ya kwamba Wakenya wengi wanapata nafasi ya ajira katika ile miradi yote tunafanya kama serikali ya Kenya. Na vile vile tumesema ya kwamba tutaunganisha hii mpango ya ujenzi wa manyumba na sekta yetu ya jua kali. Watu wengine kama Lumiti hapa ndio watu tutawapanga sasa wawe na equipment, wawe na nafasi, na tumekubaliana na wale contractors wote kwamba sehemu kubwa ya kutengeneza milango, kutengeneza madirisha, kutengeneza sehemu ya sehemu zingine itafanywa na watu, kandarasi ya watu wa jua kali. Kazi ya counties na sehemu zingine ni kuhakikisha kwamba tuko na watu wengi kama Lumiti wako na ujuzi, tuko na plumbers wako na ujuzi, tuko na electricians, tuko na masons, tuko na carpenters. Ndio tuhakikisha kwamba hawa vijana wetu wanapata nafasi ya ajira, wanashughulika na maendeleo ya taifa letu la Kenya, tukipiga hatua ya kwenda mbele kama taifa. Na hii kazi ndio itakuwa inafanyika kila wiki, kila sehemu ya Kenya. Nimesema tayari tuko na nafasi katika counties 39 ya kufanya kazi kama hii, na tuhakikisha kwamba we grow our nation. Ndio tumesema safari hii mpango ya serikali ni kujenga nyumba ambayo mwananchi wa kawaida atapata nafasi ya kuja kuishi kwa estate namna hii, alipe shilingi 5,000 baada ya miaka 15 20 nyumba ikue yake, mahali kuna usalama, mahali kuna choo, kuna sewage, kuna mataa, kuna maji, kuna usalama. And that is what we desire for every citizen of the Republic of Kenya.
Very well, that is President William Ruto just the other day at Bondeni in Nakuru County inspecting the housing units that are being built right there in Bondeni, which has actually been known to be more of a slum. And maybe this is going to actually uplift the status of this particular estate in Nakuru. And this is something that the president said is also happening in other areas in the country. And from that clip, Bwana Mashari, I know there is a thought that you're having before I bring in Kagi. The president is saying that this is for the average Kenyan, or in his Kiswahili wise, mwananchi wa kawaida.
I think what he's referring actually, he should understand mwananchi wa kawaida ni mgani. Because you see, like when we are talking about the average, they will pay 3,000. That is what we expected. Because like if we can go now there and take a stock of the owners of that estate already as we speak, you will find that mama mbogas are not there. You will find the common mwananchi now, because those people who have been able to afford that mortgage are persons who can afford from 1 million plus or 2 to 3 million for 2 to 3 bedroom houses. So what we are saying is that we would wish that the project should actually, just like he's saying, prioritize on the people who are even, like for example, he's saying other areas within that area. There are people who stay in Kivumbini, in Kaloleni, in our old Flamingo estate. We expect that they should be the ones to be given priority and government to guarantee them. Not just only to put a block, because when you say you are selling the houses, as we speak right now, there is nobody from Kivumbini in those houses, nobody from Pangani. So what we are saying is that we would wish the president to clarify and maybe make sure that it is that mwananchi wa kawaida, not just only the way they are saying it will be affordable for which other mwananchi wa kawaida. When I myself, Ben Mashari, I cannot afford to even take those houses. Already they are taken by people with payslips. Those are government officials who can afford a mortgage, and especially you should be in a year where you can pay your mortgage. Yes.
I think, Magicho, I have been following the issue of the affordable housing, and I feel if it is done in the right way, it is the best program. Because where we are heading to, we are going to have an issue with lack of housing in this country. You know, many people are leaving school, they are doing their stuffs, they don't have money to buy plots. You know, we need to think of how we are going to sort their housing well in advance. I wish we started this program early enough. Targeting those people who cannot be able to have a housing. You know, when you look at the history of China, they have a very good program for housing, whereby, because it is a densely populated country, they came up with a very good formula to provide housing for its people. Yes. You know, they have set aside land for agriculture. You know, they do a lot of farming. Land for agriculture, thousands of acres. And then they have set aside those, they call them, I don't know what, they are cities. They set aside land for housing, whereby people live within one segregated area. Then the government provides all other incentives like hospitals, schools, everything is free. You know, I wish we started this program early enough. But now it's too late.
No,
it's never too late.
But Bwana Moshari, as you said, so because the average Kenyan that you're saying maybe is now going to wonder what is it that is now really going to happen to them, because that is the intention, or maybe that is the government's intention, like what the president have already said, that they want the average Kenyan, the ones who maybe are not or cannot maybe manage that kind of maybe high life, to be able at least to have that kind of an affordable housing. And he has already put it that it's very, very important for us to give Kenyans what we can call decent housing, at least those who cannot be able to achieve that kind of high life. But now, like you've said, this thing has already thrown out the mamambogas.
Yes. Like I was saying, because you see, if government had land, we could actually believe what they're telling us, that, you know, we are going to build this phase, then we go to this phase, not even occupied land. If the government, for example, in Nakuru can come and tell us we have about 5,000 acres or 1,000, where we can build maybe a particular city, like you're seeing some entities who are doing. They are coming with maybe a particular city, they build houses there. They recreate, not because how many, every day we are getting new Kenyans coming. Our populations are still going on. These houses being brought here, they are not for rent. You own, you go away.
Yes.
I own, I go away. Kagi owns, he goes away. Which means that by the time we are addressing the issue of housing for even new Kenyans and all that, it will still be a continuous process. It may not be achieved as per se. What we are saying, for example, like when World Bank started this program, was to identify the low-income areas and target those ones. They removed them from those slums because they were not living in a dignified manner. Because according to the UN rights of persons, is that every person in the world must live in a dignified world.
Exactly.
So that dignity is what we are trying to do. In fact, we are not talking about everybody owning a house. Because you might find Kagi has a plot where he stays. Somebody else has a farm where they stay. What actually we were saying and advocating was that if these people actually they wanted us to even own houses, they should actually zero-rate some of these buildings.
But then now the question is, so what happens to the mama bogas? Because they also go out to earn a living. Of course, maybe the returns may not be as more or as much as maybe those people who are salaried and maybe those people maybe who have other maybe quite high jobs. But in that little earning that they have, how is it that therefore they can be helped? Because I also remember there was a case, I think we were given an example of Omoni Zahoka, who has been paying for that particular house. Can we have examples of other people who are maybe in that particular cadre also achieving?
Yes, that's what we are saying. The government should be facilitative in nature. Once they facilitate, they say these are the low-income earners, but we can even give them like a security. So that as government, we are saying Mangicho cannot be able to raise 1.5 million or 2 million. But Mangicho, we know, it can be identified properly that these are the low-income earners. So the government facilitates us to even to move in those houses. They build, and then they take you there so that you sign some document that every year, every month, I'll be paying 3,000 out of the small bogas I'm selling or matunda. Because we are not saying we want houses for free. We want the government to come down, not as per it is right now. Because you cannot just go there and you start paying for that house with only 1,000 shillings. They don't.
I think, Masharia, what is concerning me regarding to Mama Mboga and Mangicho is the issue of guarantee. You know, how is it possible that you can be given a house which is costing 3 million? Maybe you can pay, like the president said, like 15 years, and the government is not sure on how it's going to account for this money because Mama Mboga doesn't have any guarantor. We're just selling matundas and everything, boda, they don't have any guarantee as compared to someone who is employed by the government or a big institution whereby their payslip can be their guarantee. Is there a situation whereby there is a possibility, even though we want Mama Mbogas to own that house, do you feel in the most scenario that these people can be able to be given a housing without any guarantor? Number two, are we sure if this Mama Mboga, personally, that Mama Mboga or boda is really able to pay that mortgage without any struggle? You know, just asking some ordinary questions.
Kage, I think you are right, because you see, initially, when we started, when there was independent in this country, those houses you see people occupied, they were built by government through the National Housing Corporation and through all other corporations. They were building houses. Then they tell Mangicho, get in that house. Where ka pale anza kulipa nyu, the government was providing housing for its people. And especially, they started, for example, with their employees. So all these estates you see here being demolished here, they were houses which were provided for initially the employees. And what they were saying, retire. Once you retire, you get out. Somebody else comes in that house. So that house is charged very cheaply for you to be able to understand as you work properly for government. But even right now as we talk, right now that is going away. Which means that competitively, government will still have to add people house allowances for the same. So the government is taking from one side and is trying to give you on the other side.
On the other side.
But also the definition of these occupants of these houses has not been clearly defined. That's why we have a problem in terms of who are these going to occupy these houses. Nakuru population is almost 1 million. When we say we are targeting 50,000, who are these 50,000 going to be given that houses? Yes. For example, in Nakuru, and this is across the country. By the time we are through with other areas, that's why we are saying this thing should actually be structured properly. We are just raising, we are just trying to tell them. It cannot fit for us. Sometimes we just need to get that low person and see how do we facilitate the so-called mama mbogas and the so-called low income.
And the issue of mama mboga is also what captured the attention of the governor for Nakuru, that is Her Excellency Susan Kihika. I think my director can now give us the soundbite of Nakuru Governor Susan Kihika and also the Cabinet Secretary Zakaria Njeru, who also happens to hail from Nakuru County. Let us also hear what was their take during this particular assessment, or during the tour or the visit by President William Ruto in Bondeni on the affordable housing program.
Lakini pia nikubaliane na our area MCA as well as our MP, na niseme Your Excellency, pengine hizo nyumba zingine tutajenga to make sure wale mama mboga wetu wameweza kuafford hizo nyumba. Na wakiweza kuafford hizo nyumba, vile tunataka, by the way, tulipokuja hapa mapema kidogo tukauliza hizi nyumba zisinunuliwa na mainvestor, si ndio hiyo? Hizi nyumba ni zenyu. Na kwa sababu ni zenyu, we must get to a level where you are able to afford. Mtaweza kuzi-afford, si ndio hiyo? Lakini kuna program, Your Excellency, asanti, Your Excellency the President amecommit 50,000 units za Nakuru County. Hizo ni nyumba mingi sana. Hizo ni nyumba mingi sana. Lakini nataka tuziangalie outside tu ya kuwa nyumba. Ile kazi hizi nyumba zinaleta katika kaunti yetu. Kama nikiangalia tu hivi na sijui sana maneno ya kujenga, lakini naona tunahitaji wale watu wa kupaint. Si ndio hiyo? Wale wa mawe. Si ndio hiyo? Wale wa tiles. Wale plumbers. Wale electricians. So there's so many jobs zenye zinakuja with this housing, so that it's not just housing. And on top of that, to make sure sisi wananchi wangu wa county ya Nakuru tumeishi maisha iko na dignity. Muko na nyumba mzuri, iko na maji, iko na stima, and that is the dream we have for nyinyi hustlers. Hapo tumeshikana, tuko pamoja. Kwa hivyo tuseme ni asante sana kwa President, because on top of zile county ameanzia nazo na amekimbia haraka sana, Nakuru iko moja yao. Kwa hivyo ametukumbuka na anatukumbuka na anaendelea kutushikilia. We have many other pieces of land where tutaweka nyumba zingine mingi, so that tuweze to make sure that affordable housing with dignity imekuwa realized for the people of Nakuru County.
We also thank you, Your Excellency, kwa sababu ulipotupea hii kazi, ulituambia tutangatange kila mahali. And that is our commitment as a ministry, Your Excellency, to move out from our offices, tuende kote nchini na tuweze kuwa na miradi kama hii. We want to confirm, Your Excellency, we are working very well with the county government, especially our governor here. Tumezunguka na yeye na ameweza kutupa land ambayo tutaongezea kujenga nyumba kama hizi, na tumepata ushauri wako kwamba nyumba ambazo tutakuja nazo zingine zitakuwa zikilipwa kati ya 1.5 million, 2 million, 2.5 million, na ile ya 3 bedroom tuwe hapo 3.5. And I'm sure, Your Excellency, the PS has agreed to that na amekubalia tutaweza kufanya hivyo. So what we will do here ni nyumba tutajaribu kwenda juu zaidi, kwa sababu viwanja sio vikubwa sana. So our commitment will be to go vertical more than going horizontal.
Yeah, those are the sound bites from the Cabinet Secretary, Lands and Housing, Zakaria Njeru, and also Her Excellency the Governor Nakuru County, that is Madam Susan Kihika. Still on that particular issue on affordable housing program, and I think that is also what really captured the attention of the governor, Bwana Macharia. And you're just giving us an approximate number of the people in Nakuru, close to 1 million. Yes. Out of these 1 million, what do you think is the statistics of the number of the people who would actually be in need of what we can call affordable, decent housing? And looking at that now, comparing with this particular project and the way it has kicked off, what do you think will be the success of such a program?
I think one of the things that should actually inform some of the building of these houses is the national statistics from the National Bureau of Statistics, right, on the poverty index of our people. And actually we also vet who are the beneficiaries of that program. Yeah. Because as we speak right now, the way you are seeing the governor talking, it is like those houses are available. They are not. Already they are fully booked. Which means that already there is a person in Nairobi who has already bought like 2 flats, 1 flat or something like that. What we are saying is that let us get statistics. Let us register, vet these people. That's why you cannot just go and issue ati pesa ya wazee kwa kila mtu. There are people who are able, they are well able, they can be able to pay for themselves. They don't need your 2,000 or 3,000. That is exactly. Also, somebody else can take mortgage from the bank. It is not just, you don't just call everybody when you are addressing such kind of a problem. That's what we have a problem with. Let us say, what are the statistics? Can you come to us? Do we know whether you need these houses or not? Because if people are going to register, people must register for the ownership so that we vet. If Kagi is somebody who has a payslip, can afford a mortgage from a lending institution, then we tell Kagi, no, stop, go there. But these other small people who are living in the slums, they should become the priority for these housing projects. Otherwise, we will just open a Pandora's box where everybody will come with their money. The rich will still own apartments for their holiday condos. By the way, I heard somebody, they are called condos. They have, these are special houses for them to come and relax while they are passing across Nakuru. That should not be the essence of affordable housing. It should be for those Kenyans who are down there, whom we have seen that maybe they want to own houses, but they can't because of lack of land, and they cannot be able to raise all of that money.
But then I'm trying to wonder, I don't know, maybe Kagi also have a point on that. Could this be the reason why those leaders, we also saw them maybe paying a lot of attention to maybe the other importance of these houses, now that is the aspect of employment?
Yeah, they had to tell people, you know, sometimes you have to tell people that is why we are doing this, because you are going to get employment. But on the other way, the other recipient who are unable to do it, they don't have a voice. That's why we are saying, whether they are going to create 1 million jobs or 2 million jobs, but what is the intended purpose of that overall? It is not about that job. Because if it is that way, then the government should start just vibarua everywhere, so that they call people do vibarua and then they leave. But these ones should, so that we say in Kenya, the people below the poverty line are this. And then the one we can house are this. The one with the housing needs are this. Because there are also people who are in Elbagon. They are in Elbagon and they have a farm there. They don't need to come all the way to Nakuru to occupy this affordable housing. But there are persons who are unable, they have been born and brought maybe around, but they don't have the capacity to buy all. Like, you may find people don't have access to land. They're there. They are the majority of these county houses. They don't have. So even if you tell them you are going to build them house, then come and tell them, these are the classes of people we are going to deal with. So that you may realize even that number may go down. We may not just give everybody. Just like bursary. You don't open the way it was open. You come and vet through a committee so that you know this is a needy child. Not the way it was being done. Kujeni 100, kila mtu anapewa form anaenda. And that is why the abuse of bursary was being done. So the same thing, if not checked with the affordable housing, will still happen in our country. We need affordable housing for the people who are unable to afford. And for those who are down there, the mama mbogas. Like you see, that's why you see the governor was under pressure. Because people there were complaining. You know, some of us, we just pass and see the houses being built. You cannot even get in that compound. They got there inside that day when the president was there. So let's be realistic about our country for the first time, so that we don't just clap our hands, but at the same time people are crying behind the scenes.
And I think the governor had said one point, which is very key regarding to whether this housing were provided to the Mama Mboga. She has just said that President in the next set of houses that you will be constructing, let's include the Mama Mboga. Meaning, already what they have constructed for now, this Mama Mboga is not there. So he is really crying for them to be included in the next set.
In the next phase.
In the next phase. And I'm feeling for President a little bit, because I believe this project is one of the things he is really looking unto for his campaign in the coming election. And if he is not careful with this affordable housing, it is going to be to give him a very, very, very challenging situation to be able to explain to people from those regions whether those houses are occupied by real people who are targeted. So he must be very careful. And as Macharia has said, if you look at the issue of bursaries, the way even now is being distributed, you find that there's so many people who are receiving money for those children who are unfortunate in the society. Yet they can be able to afford for their education and for their children, and they are denying the real beneficiaries of bursary. So I think we have a problem with the government policy regarding to managing its projects. We have a real problem. Bursaries, pesa kwa wazee, now we are in the affordable housing. If it is not done well this time around, because already everybody knows we have affordable housing for low earners, it's going to backfire to the president himself.
So, Bwana Macharia, as you look at this particular thing, I want us to get the final clip on this particular area by the Deputy President, that is His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. But then something else that therefore will actually maybe elicit a lot of reactions, and maybe most Kenyans will want to find out, and I think this is something that you had hinted, that right now these houses are being built by private developers. Now, when you talk about the coming in of these private developers and being involved in something like this, now, at what particular point, therefore, can the mwananchi, can a voter now maybe put the government into accountability and actually maybe say this government in a particular way has helped me?
I think that's why beginning in this one, you know, initially when the previous projects were launched, you could not raise a voice. Because people are pretending so much. Because now you see, kuna vile people were structured to say things. Before the president, you say this, and inaisha hapo. And that's why you see they could not raise previously some of this. Like you see the area MCA. He was the one who started that issue, Honorable Sakwa. Yes. Then Gekaria came, the MP. Then the governor had no choice, but only to say the same thing, like these others said, these others said. What we need, that's why we are saying, we must start now realizing our communities and bring them together. And they must say, no, this is our project. We need people properly identified. That is why most of these government projects, they lose along the way. Because key involvement of key stakeholders is wanting everywhere. That's why you see even the bursary, when you try, you see like even bursary right now, people are just, there is a lot of confusion. And there are people who are thriving through confusion. What do we want the government to do? They should identify, for example, you see they have said, kuna hiyo viwanja. Those people who are living in those houses, when you look at them, most of them, they have inherited the houses from the previous owners who are there and so on and so forth. What we need government now is to use the properly statistics that if Macharia's name is brought as a beneficiary, I can be vetted by a committee. Then Macharia is not able to pay this house. Then I get someone else who has this and this. So that the government will now remove brokers. We will stop banking everything together. Like right now it is. People cannot ask questions. That's why you see when people are just clapping. And you saw even when the president came to talk, he never said about that. He never talked about going for the lower person. He just talked employment. That's how they catch where you want to make sure you are putting them in a corner. They want just to do a general reaction. So what we are saying, Mangichu, let them understand those persons beneficiary, what is the way of identification, facilitation, and actually being guarantors for those people. That is where we are going to say now we have a government that will facilitate you to make sure that you as a small person there, you are able to operate in a business environment that you can work. pay your mortgage, even if 1,000 per month or 2,000 or 3,000. Because government is not there to make business.
Right.
Government does not do business. Let them know, these people we are building houses, who are they? I'm telling you, if they do an audit today, people will cry.
But looking also at the magnitude and maybe the large number of Kenyans who would actually be in need of this affordable housing, and looking at it at the moment, of course we know that these houses are being built by private developers. Is there a need of the government maybe now looking into its budget and seeing maybe whether it can pump in some money so that maybe it can also maybe include or it can also contribute to the building of more houses so that it can help many people?
Yes, the biggest contribution the government can do right now is to make sure that they zero-rate most of these materials. They bring the cost of materials down. Then they bring like, it's kind of a capping for certain rent. Because you see, like right now, you cannot again wish away all the private developers. Like me, if I have a plot, I want to build houses that you people can come and occupy and then pay me rent. So we cannot assume those people are also there. They should also be facilitated. But once they are facilitated, let's make sure that these people are given, like right now, you see like the government was taxing. It has started taxing what we call rent. When they are going to tax that, they can reduce and say, we are not going to buy. And you now, Mangicho, as a plot owner, don't charge over this. So that Kagi there, who cannot afford a 15,000 house, can come to your house, which is good, decent, but at 7,000. That's what the government should now look, but not just only operate as if there are no other actors. You see, like all the other plot owners, they are not talking. But you see now the way government is talking, it's like they are in a cocoon somewhere just talking about poor people. Then that is not the way. We are also having private developers who are supposed to be given an opportunity, be facilitated to come up with proper housing, and then they, like these housing estates you are seeing, what were convoy, and people should be able to pay their rent. So at the end of the day, the government should actually look at ways, just the way they are saying, to tazirolate mahindi yenye nakuja, so that by the time the millers are getting the mahindi, then by the time it's coming to the shop, we get the maize at the unga at 100. That is the only way, so that the production cost is not passed to the to the consumer, so that even the building cost and all that material should not be passed on to the rent, to the rent payer, or you who are going to combo that house. That's what we want the government to look at, so that they don't also operate like they are working in an island where there are no other actors who are also business people who have also constructed their own houses. So there are also others who are also selling and doing the same what the government is doing.
Okay, fair enough. And just to conclude on this particular area, I want to get into the matter of security in the north, but let's get the final clip by the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua on this particular matter on affordable housing units.
Hasa hii mradi wa Excellency ni mambo ya kutafutia vijana wetu ajira, mambo ya employment, ambaye vijana wetu wanapata nafasi ya kupata kazi. Huu mradi wa affordable housing unachangia hali kubwa sana. Na ndio kama hapa tuko na huyu anaitwa Henry Lumiti. Ako hapa Henry? Kuja. Huyu Henry Lumiti huyu alikuwa tu mtu ya jua kali hapa, anang'ang'ana na kuhaso. Si ndio, si mnamjua? Amekuja kufanya kazi hapa, na wenye huu mradi wamemnunulia mashini 2, mashini 4 ya kuchomelea madirisha na milango na zile vyombo zingine. Kwa sasa ameandika watu 6. Na saa ile hii mradi unaisha, hizo mashini atakatwa polepole, zitakuwa zake, aandike watu 10, watu 20. Na hiyo ndio njia ya kutafuta kazi. Si mungetaka msikie kwake? Haya, kuja.
Saa hii niko na wafanyakazi wenye na wasalipa shilingi 40,000 kwa mwezi sababu ya hawa watu. Mimi wanga nakaa mikutano kila saa na wafanyakazi hata wa hapa, sababu hii muda kidogo nimeanza
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Are you looking for a reliable retail and wholesale hardware store that is able to deliver quality and affordable products at your site? Shirdi Trading Stores Limited has been your hardware of choice for more than 12 years, serving the people of Nakuru with excellence and quality products. Our products include all kinds of chuma, hollow sections, black pipe, furniture pipe, round bars, square bar, deformed bars, MS plates, checkered plates, galvanized plates, H-beams, flat bars, angle bars, roofing sheets with special lengths, marine boards, cement, tank of all sizes, etc. at affordable prices. We also organize transport for our clients. Our main shop is located at Nakuru Eldred Highway, Shabab Roundabout, opposite Total Petrol Station, while the distribution center and godown is located at Industrial Area, opposite Kenya Power Depot. For more information, call us on 0711 600 101 or 0735 600 101, or you can use 0701 600 101. Shirdi Trading Stores Limited. We are your construction partner. Customer satisfaction is our first priority.
Nakuru Box is a new premier co-working space in Nakuru town that provides a serene, sophisticated, and upmarket premise where entrepreneurs, freelancers, and startups can share a collaborative environment to drive success to their businesses. Get access to a professional business address, meeting room space, access to co-working space, administrative support, free printing and Wi-Fi, complimentary tea or coffee, ample parking space. We are located at D&D House, 6th floor and 2nd floor, along West Road, Nakuru. To view more of our office spaces, contact us on 0794 829 081 or visit our website on www.nakurubox.co.ke. Karibuni.
MBCI Television.
Hii niko na wafanyakazi wenye na wasalipa shilingi 40,000 kwa mwezi sababu ya hawa watu. Mimi wanga nakaa mikutano kila saa na wafanyakazi hata wa hapa, sababu hii muda kidogo nimeanza, nimechua mtu unaweza toka pahali na uende pengine sababu ya pitia. So President, tutakuomba ukiona tunaendelea namna hivi, wenye niko nao wafanyakazi wako na watoto, wako na familia, bibi, wako na wenye wanasaidia, kazi ndio hii inaisha. Baba zetu ndio hawa. Ukipea baba chakula, watoto wamepa. Na vile umekuja hapa, ninajua next time nataka nisimame mbele yako nikiongea nikiwa na Prado imesimama pale. Now all this will come from King's developers. Sababu ukiona nimekalishwa chini na nimeambiwa, nimepatiwa historia ya hawa watu, hawa ni hustlers. Kama wewe, hustler maana yake ni kumaanisha ule mtu ametoka chini kujitafutia mpaka amepata. Sio ule mtu alipata zenye zimetengenezwa. Na sisi tuko mbele yako kukuambia like myself, mimi ni hustler.
Nimekuja mara mingi, wakanipunguzia ndio nikaanza kulipa. Sasa hii nimelipa miezi 11. Imebaki tu kidogo, bado nitagangana kulipa. Na nimeleta wateja wengi, karibu 4-5. Nimewaelezea wakakubali, wakaleta. Bado hii tunafurahia sana, hatungeweza kununua nyumba hata maka 100 ingine hatungeweza kama sio hii kidogo kidogo. Basi sasa na shukuru sana Mungu ametufikisha hivyo. Mimi ni biashara kidogo kidogo tu, sina chochote, lakini kidogo kidogo tu ninajisaidia. Bado wamama wote mnunulie watoto wenu nyumba, mtaweza mkilipa kidogo kidogo. Musikae hivyo, jaribu mkuja Kingisafea. Asanteni sana, shukrani.
Anauza nguo pale ya rejareja hapo Nakuru, analipa kidogo pale mbele, nyumba itakuwa yake. Hii mpango ni nzuri, si nzuri? Mtajipanga na hii mpango? Kwa hivyo rais wetu tunashukuru kwa hii mpango ya kuinua hao mahasla, wale ambaye wapate ajira, waandike wengine nyumba zikuwe zao, ndio pia hao wakuwe na heshima.
So much for the housing or affordable housing program. And of course, we can only now wait and see at the end of it all, will the average Kenyan, the mwananchi wa kawaida, benefit? Let's give them time and see what will take place. Gentlemen, we have to move on to the next area because we have a few minutes left, and that is security in the north. And if we can first of all set the stage and introduce what has so far taken place. We have a gazette notice from the CS Defense. Now we have a combination of the KDF, the Kenya Defense Forces, and also the Kenya Police being sent to the troubled North Rift area. And we also have a dawn to dusk curfew that has been imposed. And just maybe to begin, is this what we need to completely end this banditry menace in the North Rift? Bwana Macharia.
Thank you so very much. You know, like this issue of security in the north has been an issue whereby they wanasemanga they are coming to Kenya when they are moving from that area. Because in those areas, there is no peace at all. Schools are not running. Nothing is going on, by the way. Bunduki upande ile, risasi upande ile, and so on and so forth. And this is a situation that has been compounded by politicians who are criminal. They have what we call a criminal enterprise at the north, whereby they have decided on these matters, there is nothing that can be done here. Hakuna masomo, utakuwa ukiweka ngombe na kujia tunauza. And that is what has been going on. That's why the government now, this time round, they have decided no. We cannot be going to school. Like my children have to walk to school. But those children have not been into school for the last 3 months. Why? You know, you cannot, there are no children of a lesser gold. There are no children, there are no lesser Kenyans there. That's why the situation has been so dire that this government is facing the bull by its horn. That's why Kindiki was sent there. The president said he is there for 3 or 4 days until the situation improved.
Literally, or was it a metaphor?
No, he was there because you see now the president, even he was addressing the nation from the other end, Kindiki, because you see the president anamwambia hakuna kitu mnafanya Nairobi. Previously, that's what ministers have been doing. Wanakaa Nairobi kwa maofisi, unasikia upande ile Kajiado mtoto amebakwa, kuna kitu imefanyika, utawahi ona waziri na utawahi sikia rais. So I think the situation there is wanting. I've been there personally. I escaped death narrowly. So it is not a story that you are telling people. Those people, they really
But Bwana Macharia, as you've rightly put it, this is a criminal enterprise. Before I bring in Kagi, this is a criminal enterprise.
Yes.
How comes during all these years we don't have the names of these people who are in the criminal enterprise? And I believe you had the former RC that he has really made headlines yes. Because of his speech during the National Thanksgiving right in Nakuru, and also in some interviews with some other stations. And if what he really said, what is it that is making the government not to take action?
The only problem has been those who sit in the table planning are the ones who are executing through the other people. You find that I come to a committee with the governor, we sit down, how to address water issue in Kiamunyi. And myself, I have 5 water bowsers. You understand now? Yeah. Which means I will sabotage any water boreholes to be drilled from their end, any distribution of water. That is our country for you. And that is why Natembea told the president to his face. These criminals we are seeing here, they are not by themselves. By the time the security meeting is ended, they have been texted. We are coming through Kapedo, Sidri Nini, and all that. And they disappear. So by the time you are coming with your army, all that, you don't find people, because the owners of those criminals and the bandits are these people who sit down. That is why we are saying, this time around ulisikia Rais alisema, nyinyi wengine hapa, when he was in Baringo, I know you operate this business. Tafadhali wacheni hii maneno. He knows them. These are people who have been using that as an enterprise. So no matter which plans you place, as long as the executor is also part of that game, we will never have a solution in terms of security. And that is why this time round, names will be called, people, casualties will come in that the leaders who have been there, and especially the security. You know, immediately you are transferred maybe into those areas. You are summoned by those people. They tell you, sasa ujue Mangicho, you have come to our area, now ujue hapa tunafanyanga ABCD, and this is your bahasha. So hata ukisikia mtu amekufa kwanza unapiga simu inapigwa unaangalia, by the time they are finishing you pick the call, already the bandits have done their part. So this is a criminal enterprise. That's why I'm happy with this government. They have at least decided for once we address this matter head on. Yes.
Yeah, Mangicho, I think is a very dire situation whereby right from the days of Moi, the situation has been like that. And as Macharia is saying, we need to now make a decision whether to face those criminals head on. Call them, warn them, and even deal with them, because they have really held hostage of our children in the northern corridor, women and everybody. But also I think, Macharia, we need to come up with more economic reliability in that region. Yes, we know that in that region they rely so much on cattle rearing, and things like that. But also we need to start slowly coming up with new economic programs to be able to slowly train these people from that area, that you cannot only rely on cattle in your survival. Because if you only know about cattle, if you owe 1,000 cattle, they are taken at night, that is a slow death. So we need government itself to come up with other partners, to come up with some economic programs, you know, industries in that region, to be able to help these people to start coming out from that area and start looking in the other direction. Otherwise, if we rely on cattle 24/7,
yes,
this problem is going to be longer than expected.
And Macharia, as you give your input on Kagi settlements, and because you've said that the government this time round is tackling this matter head on, are you, for example, insinuating that this is the first time you're seeing KDF being sent there? Is it the first time we are seeing the announcement of amnesty for people for the bandits to surrender arms?
No, it's not the first time. Actually,
so in what way are you thinking now this is uniquely being done?
This is unique because now when the president is talking about developing the whole nation, when he's talking about agriculture, mbegu na nini, those are not just mbegu for Uasin Gishu or Murang'a or Kiambu. These things should be done across the country. What does it mean? If there are areas like he's saying, we have had areas like those bandit-prone areas. When you go inside there, you find there are rivers which can easily do a lot of irrigation, and you see very big skumas and all that. And even like right now, in areas of Baringo, we normally get watermelons. In as much as all that can be directed towards now Kilimo, Bora.
But I had some of the leaders from that particular side saying the bandits, and they are many in numbers, they are the ones who are averse to these developments.
That is why it has been always like this. These saboteurs of development within those areas are just local conmen and business people masquerading as bandits. But they are the ones who have been inhibiting any other resource, any other innovation that can come to their area for purposes of maintaining and making sure that these people don't rely on anything else, cattle, so that they can come and pick their cattle. You know, if you plant, for example, cabbages today and maize, they will not come for that. So this has been a larger conspiracy. That's why you see, Mangicho, we are dealing with a very serious systematic issue. It is not something that has just started today. A child as early as 6 years is told, when you grow up and you're given a gun, so, like, we will do a lot of civic education. We will have to tell them this is not the right way. If the government has to use force, like now they are saying, you know, KDF, like most of us, they just like I do here. They just in their barracks.
And when you're talking about using force, are we talking about? Are we talking about maybe these bandits actually being caught by the KDF? And of course, maybe for lack of, or maybe if they fail now to surrender, they'll have just to be...
Let me tell you, there is nothing like arresting the bandits. you fight the bandits. Because you see those people, you will not see them seated elsewhere. They play a jua and you ask them, nini wezi? Those people, they come with very sophisticated weapons. They can kill you from a very far distance. Which means that even KDF, they have also to apply military precision. They have to understand they are dealing with the most serious people. Do you know bandits are not commoners? They are also ex-military, ex-police, they are ex-whatever, and all that, those excesses. Which means that they even have more experience than a new recruit who has been coming from Kiganjo and is run on that area. Like you see the Suguta Valley when they were killed. You see how many police officers were killed during that time. They had no knowledge of what is happening. But those on the other end knew, wacha tumalize ndio wengine waogope kufanya nini. They also fear to come on the ground. We are dealing with very serious people. That's why we are saying the parliament has been called to make sure that they now call the KDF. You know, you cannot just deploy KDF without using the parliament.
Just be passed through an act of parliament.
Yeah, through an act of parliament. So that at the end of the day, they stay there. What we are saying, in fact, instead of saying here in the barracks, just enjoying white meat and all that. They are, my friend, to secure our borders. That's why even you see President Trump, what he did to some extent, he built a wall in America. So he said, these people, you cannot have a vast area that is uncovered. People come from all over. Let's have a wall. At least a wall will reduce the number of people who are coming, the illegal immigrants who are coming to America. The same case even right now. You see, like the defense secretary is Mr. Duale. Mr. Duale comes from those frontier areas. He can easily call these people, tell them, where are we getting it wrong? Ni wale na hule, so that they start dealing with those issues once and for all. They know the barons who are supporting the war. They know those people who take the meat and they take the cows and take them to KMC. Those people have been there. That's why the president warned them. If you could listen to Baringo, he said, nyinyi watu, nyinyi najua muko hapa. But please stop that job. Because if we don't do that, Mr. Mangicho, we will just go in the same musical chairs, the same year, we say, and we know Kagi is the one who has got lorries that ferries the animals from there. But we cannot arrest the Kagi. So we need to face the reality once and for all.
And what are the chances that in an operation like this, the innocent will also suffer? Because information, the news already is that some of the locals have already begun migrating, moving from their homes because of the fear of the KDF operation in those particular areas. And they also fear, and there are people who are now saying, or there are allegations that it will be very impossible to actually get these bandits. They've already flown to neighboring countries like Uganda.
If I can respond to you, myself, I'm a human rights activist. I've been there severally. I was there during Bithwel Kibra when we were talking about truth, justice and reconciliation. Yes. I went to those communities and I could hear what were some of the issues that were developing in those areas. And they could actually pinpoint to senior government officials that say, so and so ndiye ameweka wale watu. If you try to go and arrest Mangicho, Kagi will just call a few people and then you are released. Which means that we were supporting the war. We were the persons who are behind everything and supporting it because the criminal enterprise is benefiting these people, and they don't stay there. Like for example, if you look at the entire the communities, sometimes they are casualties in a war, but we better have police go there. They go because those bandits don't come from Ethiopia. Some of them, they are just from within. So we must also come and what we call pacification, so that they talk with these people. Either you surrender. That's why the president has given amnesty. Otherwise, you cannot just come shooting. But if you are found with an illegal arm, then that means you are an enemy, and you can easily kill the person. So you cannot be disarmed while you yourself you are not ready to be disarmed. So what we are saying is, for the longest time, people just speak about insecurity, but deployment of our KDF soldiers, they are at the front line. We cannot be exporting our soldiers to Monrovia, Liberia. They keep peace there, they fight Janjaweed. And while our own people cannot go to school. And that is why the president was very categorical. I swore to protect the territory of Kenya. Let's be honest, for the first time in this war against these bandits, so that at the end of the day, the sponsors, the perpetrators, can be arrested once and for all.
I think Macharia will respond to these two issues. Yes. Number one is the issue of police reservists. In the previous regime, because they were fighting the same issue, they didn't find it wise for them to use the police reservists, so they withdrew them on the ground. In the current regime, they said, no, we need to come back to the police reservists, and therefore we need to bring them back on the ground, and they are there. I don't know, but it seems Macharia, they have not added a great value in fighting these bandits. You say that. Number two, sometimes I tend to feel one of the things that jeopardize the war against these bandits is a political issue, whereby sometimes you want to go and fight bandits, they have flew, they are no more, and those people who are innocent becomes the culprit. And therefore, it affects the political geography in that area. And therefore, when the political situation is affected, then the war starts decreasing. So don't you also feel that the issue of politics affect these kind of operations?
Number one, let me begin with the KPR. The Kenya Police Reservists are people who are locals. If Kagi, for example, you stay in a particular village, you are trained and armed. All these people, they know how to use guns. So they are supposed to be, they were used to have very sophisticated weapons. So when the attackers are coming, they are the defenders of the village and the estates. So at the end of the day, without proper management, some of them also turned to be bandits themselves. That's why the previous government, I think to some extent, felt like these people are now transforming themselves to bandits. They raid other villages using the KPR ammunition and all that. But to a large extent, they are very important in managing local areas because they know strategically how to even view those people. Now they should be properly armed, and they should actually have communication equipment, and they should be reinforced with now other government forces like the KDF and all that, so that if they see something, then they can be checked. They don't just operate in a wild like that. The KDF they can be put under a command structure that whether you are KPR or what, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to do, so that when the bandits are coming, they find a huge wall surrounding before they reach the villagers. People will stay. But as long as we stay the way we are staying, that becomes another issue. The other issue was there were those who are politically benefiting from the issues of the bandits, whereby somebody knows, for example, a certain village does not like me. What do they normally do during elections, or 6 months or 1 year to elections? They start engineering displacement of that population. And these things happen. That's why you see even in 1992, like in the Enosopikia, there were those people who are being accused for displacing the people who could have elected your rival. And this is something that has happened in Kenya. So what we are saying right now, that is why the president is very firm. I think what I'm just assuming, the way I'm seeing him talking, is that these things we have to fix. If you are a politician benefiting from this, please stop it.
Stop it. Bwana Macharia, because of time, I want us now to get into our leadership or profile segment. I think my director is ready with that particular segment. Let's have a look at it.
My name is Pastor Alex Maina Mohoro, and I am also serving the county government of Nakuru as the Chief Officer for Resource Mobilization. I'm also the chairman of Nakuru Pastors Fellowship. I'm a parent, I'm a businessman, among other things. And I would like to say something about leadership. Leadership, according to me, leadership is about serving the people. It's not about position. It's about the leader having the purpose of serving the people. Jesus, who is the greatest leader who has ever lived, he said that a true leader is the leader who has come not to be served, but to serve. So even my message to anyone who is in leadership, let us get involved in the service to the people. That is why God has given us the positions that He has given us in whatever level of leadership, be it at the family level, be it at the national level, be it at the church level. Wherever you are as a leader, never forget that you are there to serve the people. And people would like to feel you caring for them. That is what leadership is all about. People, John Maxwell said that people don't care how much you know. They want to know how much you care. So as leaders, let us get into doing what we are called to do and offer service to the people, lifting people's lives, giving people direction, getting the towels as Jesus would have done, and going down there and serve the community. It's not about sitting on a seat. It's not about being served by others. It's you getting down and bringing a solution and a direction in the area of your leadership. So basically, I would like to say that I am just encouraging the leaders, just check your leadership, whether your direction is onto the people or onto yourself. If the direction is onto yourself, there is a problem in your leadership. It is not about people serving you. The leader is this person who holds the lander for the people to climb, not the people holding the lander for the leader to climb. The leader is that person who gives people opportunities, makes way for the people, opens door for the people, encourages the people, empowers the people, and those are the kind of leaders that we need today who are going to make a difference wherever they have been given opportunity to read, be it in a school, wherever they are. It's not about them getting, it's about them giving. And asante sana.
Yeah, that is the leadership profile segment, and today we were having Pastor Alex Maina, who is also the Chief Officer, Resource Mobilization in the County Government of Nakuru. We are pressed for time, but Bwana Macharia, maybe just one more thing. Maybe we also wanted to get your thought on what the Trans Nzoia Governor, George Natembeya, said about also the difficult kind of working environment our security officers have, especially those who are actually posted in those particular areas.
Yeah, I concur with Natembeya.
And how that one can actually even compromise.
Yes, I concur with Natembeya that sometimes, you know, there is a chain of command. You cannot just report to any other person without following the command. But sometimes it becomes very difficult when people ignore your calls, they ignore your texts, and sometimes you go to their offices and they don't even listen to you. And this is happening across all cadres of leadership. You are a person from the grassroots. You are bringing that there's an emergency, a dam may break there. You are kept there for 3 other days. You are told, come next week. Mkubwa wako mkuta, amko mkutano. Poop, something happens, people die, then they start blaming you. So what we have a problem, there is a very big challenge in terms of communication. That is why you see, if you address the challenge of communication, even with the people who kule mashinani, they can easily tell you when the bandits are coming. Right. They can easily communicate with the KDF and tell them, now these people are on this, so that also we can deploy helicopters and all that, which were taken to the military and are just sleeping at the military hangar. So let's have a reality about this issue of security.
Thank you so much. That is Benson Macharia. Is a governance expert. Thank you so much for making time to be with us on the Mid-Morning Pack and also for your great insights.
Thanks also for having me on show.
Thank you so much. And as we come to the conclusion of this particular show, Kagi, we want to pay tribute to one of our Mid-Morning and also Mwanga Wangozeni panelists who passed on. That is Wakili Charles Marube Gitanda. He passed on last week and will be buried this Friday. He was very instrumental in this particular show.
Yes, our condolences to the family of the late. He has been very instrumental in building our program. We are praying the Lord may strengthen you during this time.
Yes, and we want to wish the family God's blessings and also God's grace and also peace during this particular morning period. On behalf of the entire crew that has made this particular show a success for today, we'll see you again next week at a time like this. My name is Mangi Chomola. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.
And my name is Paul Kagi. A blessed day ahead.